Alright, so as you can see, I'm now inside a sailboat. Today it's Sunday, 16th of June. Just got done writing my Lifestyle Designers newsletter for this week. And just thought I'd make a quick video just to give a little bit of update on what's going on and yeah, my plan moving forward. So I've now been back home in Norway for almost 3 weeks, which is crazy. It just kind of feels like I just got back home, but yeah, the grind mode that I get into down in Indo kind of faded away a little bit as I got home and started to hang out with my old friends and stuff like that. And I think this week I really realized that, and I got a little bit scared because, you know, the flow I was in before I got back home was so insane. You know, the progress and the mindset and the belief systems, you know, it feels like everything is possible. I'm almost like afraid of losing that. So this weekend I really, you know, made a conscious decision of not doing anything social. Just focusing on my business, writing, and reading, learning, and yeah, making sure I maintain and get back into the flow I was in, because it, you know, it felt really great. So I don't want to lose that. So I'm building it back up now. But I think that's the thing to be honest about. I want to be transparent about it on this channel. Like sometimes, you know, if you see some of my videos, it looks maybe like I'm working quite a lot, but sometimes, you know, you're falling behind a little bit and it's not something I'm proud of. That's why I'm not sharing it a lot. But, you know, you get into the bad habits sometimes, and it's just, you know, for me now, it's just how quickly can I pull myself back into the flow. When I get into a bad habit, I'm not like judging myself. I'm just trying to think what's the fastest way I can get out of this so I can get back onto the momentum that I was on. So that's what I'm trying to do now this week. Just had one night in the sailboat now. Woke up and started writing, and yeah, pulling up the camera and talking to it right now. So getting back into the flow of documenting as well. So without rambling too much, the plan moving forward now for me is the sailboat. That's why I'm home in Norway. That's the main objective. Apart from seeing the family and seeing friends, the main objective was to learn to sail, and it still is. So at the moment I'm planning a little sailing adventure, which is very exciting, which is not far. It's just down from the Oslo Fjord where we're staying now. I'll show you on the map, and down onto the coast of Sweden, and potentially stay there for a while and then cross over to Denmark, and then from Denmark a proper crossing from Denmark to Norway again. So that's like, I'm almost getting like nervous just talking about it because it's so far from anything I've ever done. I mean, I just did the solo. It was not solo. My friend was with me, but it kind of like felt like solo because he has no experience and everything relied on me. So going from that to now in a few weeks doing that insane adventure, that trip, it's very nerve-wracking, but also super exciting because, you know, this is something I've been dreaming about for years. Being able to run my business while sailing, it's just the ultimate freedom thing. So the main concerns I have for it is obviously, you know, there's going to be so many things I have to be aware of while sailing. So the focus isn't going to be as good on the business stuff while I'm sailing, obviously, and I'm aware of that. So that's where I'm going to do a lot of preparation before setting out. I'm going to, you know, make sure I have the right people on my team. So I'm probably going to hire a product manager, somebody to just help out, making sure that all the client tasks and projects are being followed up on and they don't stop anywhere. Like, we get everything done, nothing falls behind, so we have a good client experience. Also following up all the Slack threads and everything like that. So just have one dedicated person to help out with that, because one time I actually used an agency for some developing stuff for some of my clients, and I remember they had one person that was just dedicated to, you know, making sure that every Slack thread or every project or concern or question I had was followed up on in a timely manner. So if the developer, which often isn't the best communicators, they're good at developing stuff, but they're not always the best communicators. If they didn't answer a question I had, then that person would come into the thread and tag them and follow up and say, hey, can you answer the question from Oli? And I remember that was, you know, it made the client experience better, and it felt like nothing was going to fall behind because I knew this person would make sure that all the questions I had was followed up on. So from that experience, that's something I want to take onto my agency, incorporate into my client experience that I have with my clients. And I think it's perfect to do that now before an adventure like this, because it's a good test. If they're not able to follow up on stuff, you'll notice, because my mind will be a little bit elsewhere. So I really need someone to help out following up on everything, because I can't remember all the project and tasks in my head while I have a million things going on in terms of this sailing adventure. So that's one thing. I'm also going to schedule out, social media posts, YouTube videos and stuff like that, so I don't have to think about that while I'm sailing. I don't have to think about making content. I just get my editor to edit and maybe get a virtual assistant to help me post it. So I don't have to do anything on that front. I just schedule that out. And just getting on top of everything, and just if there's anything else I want to outsource, I'll do that before I leave. And then also updating my availability to make sure nobody books in a call. So stuff like this, just to make the sailing trip, so I can focus more on the sailing part, because it's going to be stressful, probably scary as well. So my mind is going to be elsewhere. So that's why I need to fix this stuff. In addition to that, two main concerns I have, which I will find out if it's going to be an issue or not. The number one is the internet stability. So even though I'm not planning on taking any calls during this, at least I'm not going to take on any calls when I'm not near a dock or near somewhere with stable internet. I'm not going to take on calls while I'm out on the ocean. But internet stability, it's going to be a main thing. If I'm going to be able to, hop on to Facebook Ads Manager and do stuff and upload stuff and answer things in Slack, I need internet. So I looked into Starlink, which I've been thinking about for a long time, but obviously it's very pricey. I think it's almost 3k euros for just the setup, and then it's like 300 or 250 something per month for 50, how much is it, 50 gigabytes of data? I think it's 50 gigabytes. So it's just very pricey, and I even think I don't really need it for this first trip, because it's not going to be any insanely big ocean crossings. So we're going to stay fairly close to the shore, and mobile data service should be able to help out with that. So we don't need Starlink yet, but this is something I'm definitely going to look more into long term. We might need to, configure Starlink on the boat so I can actually work while being in the middle of the Atlantic, for example, which is pretty cool that that's even a possibility now. But yeah, the other concern I have is battery. So this boat has batteries, does not have lithium batteries. It's like normal batteries. I don't know what you call it, like acid normal batteries. So they're not super strong, and they're kind of not meant for the stuff that I do, like work on my computer and all the gear that I have. So I'm also thinking about maybe getting a really, really powerful power bank that can like charge up my MacBook to 100% from 0 to 100 like 3 or 4 times. And that will, put my mind at ease, so that if I do like a crossing or longer passage where I don't have access to electricity from shore, then I can still knock out a lot of work in that time frame, and charge up my iPhone and use this one to get the mobile data to my computer and just share the internet with my computer, and then being able to work. So I'm going to look into that as well. I have some options there. It's a bit expensive with the lithium battery, but I think it's might be a good investment to do. And that's pretty much it. It's a very exciting time now. But a lot of moving parts, a lot of things need to come together. There's still a few things that need to be fixed on the boat, which is something I also write about in my newsletter. There's always so many things to fix, and I knew this going into the process of getting a sailboat and all that stuff. I knew it was always going to be stuff to fix and problems to solve, but I also feel like that's okay. It's just part of the process. You gain a lot of experience, you get used to the boat by having to fix different components and parts of it. As an example, this week we did a training. Me and my friend, we went out sailing on the fjord, and while we were out sailing, I heard some noise coming from inside the boat, and it was just a bunch of water in the bottom of the boat. So it didn't like get up. I can show you. It did not get like up over the floor, but it was like underneath. So I was panicking immediately, of course, because the the worst thing that can happen is that you're starting to take in seawater, because then your boat will ultimately sink if you don't, stop the leakage. So immediately I just put my finger in it, tasted it, and it was fresh water. And I immediately knew that it's probably coming from our water tanks inside the boat. And in that case, it's still super annoying, but it's nothing dangerous because the water is already inside the boat, so it's not going to sink it. So I just started to pump out the water. We have an electric pump, and we got the boat into the dock, and I started to troubleshoot and find the leakage, and I find some pipes in the back of the boat, and I had to reconnect them and set everything up properly, and then I got it fixed. So as an example, something breaks and you have no idea how to fix it, but you just have to find a way to fix it, and that is going to happen again and again. And I even bought like a book this week with all the details of a diesel engine, just so I can like learn it more, because I really don't have a lot of context and understanding of how diesel engines work. I do have some, but like very limited. So just having this book so that anytime I'm unsure of anything, I can just pull it up and learn about it. But yeah, my point here being that there's always things that needs to be fixed, and I think that's something that it's similar to running an agency. There's so many moving parts, so many things that can, and will have to be fixed at some point. You have integrations between different softwares. You have, many different contractors, and that needs to follow up on projects. And sometimes, human error happens quite often actually. They don't follow up, and you have to go in and fix it. Maybe you need to hire a new contractor for that project. Maybe you need to reintegrate an integration between two softwares. There's always stuff like that. And a thing that it's been on my mind for quite a while is like, I feel like the systems in my agency aren't good enough to handle scale. Like, the amount of clients I currently have is like the maximum I feel like I can have. But I think that's maybe not the best way to look at it, because if I take on more clients, I'm forcing myself to build systems to handle them. And instead of building it ahead of time, it's better to just, accept that it's never going to be perfect and just start scaling and fix it as you go. And I think the same thing with the sailboat. If I need everything to be perfect before we set out on an adventure, then we're probably never going to do that. So yeah, just a realization there. And if you like the waiting for everything to be perfect is probably not the best way to go about it. So yeah, that's some stuff that I wrote about in my newsletter. I'm going to give a quick update right here on the metrics, growth metrics. Not a lot of growth last week. My last YouTube video for my other channel really flopped. I think we got like so far just 140 something views. I think it was due to the time I posted it. It was during a weekend. Usually it's like Thursday or Wednesdays that are the best day to post. So that was definitely my fault, and I will not do that again. But yeah, getting back into the flow of planning and scheduling some high quality YouTube videos to get the lead flow up. And then I'm also going to get into more paid ads now, because we really, as I said, we just want to scale. We just want to get a bunch of lead flow, and we just want to build systems as we scale instead of like fixing everything and then scaling. So that's the plan moving forward with the agency. And yeah, pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching. If you want to read a little bit about my long-term vision for my dream sailboat and what that looks like and how I want to use it and sail around the world with Starlink and grow my business while sailing, you can read my last newsletter. I'll put the link in the description, and I also put like a little sick image of my dream work setup inside a boat, and this is the actual dream boat of mine. It's like a performance catamaran. It's like a performance catamaran, H50, super fast, but still has a lot of space. You can cruise and live comfortably within it. Yeah, that's the update. So see you next week.